Welcome everybody to Cosmodore. As we've already looked over every episode of Spongebob seasons 1, 2 and 3, and you guys seem to have really enjoyed that video, which I want to thank you for a lot, I think it is now due time we dive into the new episodes. New as in over a decade ago already. SpongeBob has always been a show that never failed to entertain a very wide variety of viewers, and the original 3 seasons are widely considered some of the most entertaining cartoons of all time. However, after the SpongeBob SquarePants movie came out, and many of the show's original staff members, including creator Steven Hillenburg himself, left the show to pursue other projects, people were skeptical as to how the 4th season would cope in comparison to the original run. And whether the 4th season would still be considered classic or not is also open to debate, but make no doubt, there were some real highlights in this season as well. As people who have watched the first episode in this series know, I want to give each episode its fair share of spotlight, which is why I decided to go for this rather unusual method of just ranking all of them in one go, from the least entertaining all the way up to my personal favorites. And while we only have 38 episodes to go this time around, I don't want to keep you in suspense any longer, so let's go. Number 38 and my personal least favorite season 4 episode is Ghost Host. I have very strong negative feeling towards this episode. I try not to say that I hate episodes on this list, as we have a lot of really bad ones to go in later seasons, but I will say that I actively dislike how this episode is sort of starting the trend of SpongeBob episodes looking needlessly disturbing and disgusting, how there is nothing exciting going on, and how there's not even one remotely funny joke in this episode. The Flying Dutchman was a character with so much potential, but they turned him into this dull, bland, and downright annoying ghost of his former self. No pun intended. I don't know, I'm glad for anyone who can enjoy this episode, but I so don't like this one. God, how I don't like it. Number 37 goes to The Gift of Gum. Remember everything I just said about Ghost Host? Yeah? Well, replace the part about the Flying Dutchman with whatever is happening in this abomination of an episode and you know what I think of it. Number 36, The Best Day Ever. Enter the most unnecessary episode of the season, possibly the entire show up until this point. This one feels so forced because if you didn't know, the song doesn't even stem from this episode. It originated in the SpongeBob movie's credits and they decided to write an episode around it because reasons. I won't diss on this episode too hard because I know that there are some people who really love this episode and there is some fun to be had with this one, but it just isn't for me. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 6. A Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy movie is such a cool idea and yet it really only takes up about half of the episode. Why not include some more of their villains? Why not make a parody of origin stories every superhero franchise seems to need to have? They had some good ideas here, but what could have been a great homage to Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy kind of just feels half-baked in the end. And also Patrick is just, again, so freaking dumb at this one. Number 34, Chimps Ahoy. I wonder if they thought that Sandy didn't have enough personality in the first seasons because she's gotten a lot more episodes focused on her being a scientist in the 4th one, and she has grown on me a little bit more due to that. But this is still not one of her best. I can't explain it, but it's just very unfunny and dull to me, and these new chimp characters seem very out of place from a design standpoint. Number 33, Driven to Tears. If there's one word to describe this episode, it's unfair. It's unfair that Patrick got his driver's license in the first try. It's unfair towards SpongeBob to be so cocky about it. And it's unfair to just straight up ditch him, which is fitting for him as a character, sure, but I just don't think we need to see an entire episode of SpongeBob just being unfairly treated. This episode's only saving grace is its ending, which I'll admit is pretty cute, but it's easily the worst Patrick-centered episode in the season. And we're transitioning right into the second worst one, which is Patrick Smart Pants. Yes, the concept of Patrick being really smart for once is cool. Yes, there are some nice lines sprinkled here and there, but if an episode that's already only 11 minutes long anyway manages to bore me, something has gone terribly wrong. Number 31, Hocus Pocus. This episode is fine enough. I mean, SpongeBob is even more stupid than usual, or should I say inattentive. He's right there, man, just look up once. But it's a harmless episode overall. Number 30 goes to Once Bitten.
Twice
This episode is a very mediocre season 4 episode with a few good jokes here and there. Number 29, Squidward. Normally I would complain about how Squidward is the butt of the jokes, again, and how he didn't really do anything to deserve it. Again, but I can't stay mad at Squidward, he is too cute. Number 28, Spongebob Tentacle Pants. This one's pretty good. SpongeBob and Patrick having to work as a team is a concept that never gets old. It has some good jokes here and there. It could have easily been one of the best episodes in the season if it weren't for that one completely out of place joke in the end. What is that?
Fusion is just a cheap tactic to make weak gems stronger.
Number 27, Wickstruck. It's a bit of a bummer we didn't ever get to actually hear a Ned and the Needlefish song. A hairband in the vein of Kiss or Poison writing a SpongeBob song would be sure to rock hard. Just look at Goofy Goober Rock. Number 26, That's No Lady. This one's cute, but if there's one thing I didn't ever want to admit is that Patrick is kinda hot here. Well, to the same degree to which Peach Rabbit from that one Nintendo game is hot. Number 25, Squidtastic Voyage. Squidtastic Voyage. This one is a fun time, but I think they could have been a bit more creative and gone a bit farther with being inside Squidward's body. Number 24, All That Glitters. The best part about this one is the very sweet montage of their memories, which is fitting because it is one of the saddest episodes in the entire show. Who would have thought you'd be able to get that engaged in the well-being of a spatula? Number 23, Karate Island. One of the coolest season 4 episodes. It's a great homage to old-timey karate movies, and in my opinion could have easily been followed up by an actual sequence of Squidward having to fight his way through the tower as well. We get so many specials with the start of this new era. This is one I totally would have liked to see. Number 22, Best Frenemies. What I really like about the 4th season is how they gave Mr. Krabs a lot more backstory. His and Plankton's frenemyship is one of the best parts about the series. And by the way, is there a word for when you get shivers upon seeing hair on things there isn't supposed to be any at? Because this last part gave me some real anxiety when I first saw it. Number 21, Rule of Dumb. Rule of Dumb showcases what went wrong and driven to tears in Patrick's smart pants perfectly. Patrick is the center of attention again, but this time is worked into the episode in a smart way. Why make him more evil than needs to be? I think they found a nice balance in this one, and I also really like the family tree gag. Number 20, Whale of a Birthday. I sincerely think that Pearl is one of the show's most underrated characters. And if I were to ever make a list on the best boy band parodies in cartoons, you best believe I'd put these guys on there.
It's all about you, girl, on your 16th birthday.
16th birthday? When did I get older than Pearl? I'm old. Number 19, Selling Out. This episode only manifests Mr. Krabs as the worst underwater boss of all time. Yeah, I know. What an honor. Also, if there was any doubt about the Krusty Krab being basically McDonald's, here's your proof. Or you know what? I take that back. No McDonald's employee is this happy to work there. Speaking of McDonald's, number 18 is The Thing. I remember when McDonald's used to have DVDs of cartoon episodes in every Happy Meal. They were usually surprisingly good ones, like Kim Possible and the Mouse Club. It was a huge deal to me when they put in 2 all-new SpongeBob episodes in there as well, and it helped that the episode itself was also pretty fun, with possibly the best ending in the 4th season. That DVD I talked about also had Hocus Pocus, which, like I said, was just okay. Number 17, Mrs. Puff, You're Fired. This episode gives me some serious Full Metal Jacket vibes at times. The new driving instructor is a quite entertaining character. Although I'll admit that I have no idea what sort of fish he is supposed to be. A shark, yeah, but did he like run into a wall? Is that why he's that rigorous? Number 16, The Pink Purloiner. This one kind of feels like a continuation or callback of Patrick's criminal history we established in The Smoking Peanut. I also really like this joke.
Greetings, young fellow. Word on the street is that you know where to get quality jellyfishing supplies.
What street said that? Was it this one? Mind your own business.
Number 15, Krabs vs. Plankton. This episode made me laugh a lot, and I think it is constructed very well too. SpongeBob as a lawyer is something I didn't know I wanted him to be. He is good, but he ain't got nothing on blah blah blah.
Why should you go to jail for a crime someone else noticed? You don't need double talk, you need blah blah blah.
Number 14, Funny Pants. Yeah, this episode is fine and all, but is that the exact same title card as Squirrel Jokes? Really makes you wonder just how much time went into the development of this episode. Number 13 goes to Bummer Vacation. Not wanting to take a break from work because you just have so much fun there is honestly a very admirable character trait, and it's interesting to see how what would normally be a welcome vacation to most slowly breaks Spongebob, and it's also just a funny episode. Number 12 goes to Skill Crane. I got a little personal story on these skill cranes. When I was in 10th grade or so, I went to a Christmas market with some friends and got a tails on the first try. What, that doesn't sound exciting? Well, that's because it isn't. These things are dumb, and most of the time the prizes look just as stupid as they do in this episode. What is that? So managing to turn this concept into an exciting episode is not that easy, but they pulled it off surprisingly well and relatable. Number 11 goes to Shell of a Man. I really enjoy hearing about Mr. Krabs' backstory. These old marine goods look so cool, don't you think? His old pals are also a pretty great bunch of one-off characters. I especially like Torpedo Belly's design. We're entering the top 10 with Born to be Wild. This episode makes me so happy. Seeing Patrick and Spongebob and these older gentlemen as bikers is a joy to look at. Not once did they rely on any unnecessary or disturbing gags, and the ones that are there are on par with ones from earlier seasons, namely the Diet Blood gag and these two oysters.
Hey, what happened to you?
I don't want to talk about it, man.
And number 9, The Lost Mattress, is also very good. It's another very tightly written, joke-driven episode.
How many do you think there are?
10.
Cool.
What I don't get is why Mr. Krabs didn't have to change his mattress afterwards if it's the same old money mattress he had issues with before. But that isn't too distracting because the chemistry between Squidward, Patrick and Spongebob is just very good here. Number 8 is Wishing You Well. The songs in Spongebob have experienced a slow but steady decline since season 4 in my opinion, but this one is still very well made. Also, we have one of the greatest exchanges in the show's history.
You don't stand so close. You're making me claustrophobic.
It means he's afraid of Santa Claus.
Ho, ho, ho!
It's not working, Patrick.
Darn.
Number 7 is Enemy-in-Law. This is such a sweet episode. It manages to make me feel really bad for Plankton in the end, and it also gives Mr. Krabs' mom a purpose to be there in the first place for once. That those two of all people would have such good chemistry, I don't think anyone could have predicted. I do still feel bad for Karen though, Jesus. Number 6 is Good Neighbors. This is one of the few Squidward torture porn episodes I genuinely enjoy. They don't overdo it with the jokes, and he still has a say most of the time. It doesn't feel unfair on either side. These are the kinds of stories I like, not haha, Squidward is so dumb for wanting to be alone, aha. Also, his maniacal love would make even the Mark Hamill Joker feel intimidated. Getting serious with number 5 and Fear of a Krabby Patty. The first episode of the 4th season, and what a way to start it off it was. There was a point where I liked this episode so much that I hung a poster of the title card up on my wall. There are so many great gags in this one. If you told me that this one was from the 2nd season, I wouldn't even have bat an eye.
8,600.
Wait, what's going on? Whoa!
Number 4, Krusty Towers. Krusty Towers is a very joke-driven episode with lots of clever little details. Take the scenic transitions here for example, the exterior design of Squidward's mom's house, or the rather subtle joke of her just wanting to take out the trash instead of them abducting her. Or is it subtle? Well, I didn't get it when I was 7 anyway. Number 3, New Leaf. I love this episode so much. Like Best Frenemies, this one focuses a lot on Plankton's and Mr. Krabs' relationship and deals with Plankton just being tired of trying to snatch the formula away from Mr. Krabs and has some surprisingly emotional moments between the two. It's basically a parody of breakup stories and that whole "oh my life is so much better now, but I miss you," but with Plankton having the upper hand in the end for once. Only for it to be revealed that both of them weren't to be trusted all along wrong and that everything is back to normal. It puts a great twist on these kinds of stories and is just a magnificently well put together episode overall. The silver medal goes to Dances and Dragons. Wouldn't it be just so cool to have an RPG or some sort of Elder Scrolls inspired adventure game based on this episode? It's such a good special based on Dungeons and Dragons, medieval times, Lord of the Rings, I think. I don't even know what went into this, there's so much wicked stuff going on. All the designs on the characters look rad, the new ones they introduced fit right into the SpongeBob universe, and I especially like that they brought it all back around in the end, because by the end of this episode you will have simply forgotten about how abruptly they entered this new timeline. Also, can someone explain to me the physics of SpongeBob's knee pads here? My head is aching. And my favorite SpongeBob Season 4 episode is... Have you seen this snail? Hey, it's the second special in a row, but you have to admit they have both been just so great, and this episode in particular has so much to enjoy. It has a lot of jokes that hold up to this day. The build-up and reason for why Gary has left is hilarious yet tightly written. The grammar and quasi-antagonist has just the right amount of evil. The song is fantastic.
Gary, now I know I was wrong. I messed up, and now you're gone.
I myself was never in a position where a pet of mine ran away, but I do know what it feels like to lose someone you love. It destroys your spirit completely, and you would do anything to get them back. And this episode depicts SpongeBob's resulting emotional struggle perfectly, and another surprisingly emotional episode. Gary's side of the story is also told perfectly humorous, emotional, and action-packed. As you may know, I always love when stories are being told from different perspectives. I'm going to go so far as to say that this episode is the same quality as my favorites from Season 3, which as some of you may know is my favorite SpongeBob season. It's that good. It's a great example for how a special should be handled. From the writing, over the jokes, to the resolution, this episode feels like a journey and makes me hopeful for the new episodes to come. Thank you so much for watching this episode, guys, and if you enjoyed it, please consider watching some of my other stuff, because I think you might like that as well. Please also let me know what your choices for the best and worst episodes of the season would have been. I've seen a bunch of people making their version of a full ranking of all the SpongeBob Seasons 1 to 3 episodes on the last video. Maybe we can have some discussion about what your picks would have been in the comments. I would love that. I don't know if I'm going to cover seasons 5 to 9 in the near future, because I think there are just enough people talking about their differences with these on YouTube, but we'll see. I definitely will talk about seasons 10 and 11 at some point, so stay tuned for that. That's all for now, guys. Take care.